Howdy, guys. Man, right up 7 o'clock. I'm getting more and more punctual every time I do this show. Welcome to all of y'all. Welcome to Cliff Notes Live. A great Monday to y'all. Do y'all realize we are in March? I don't know. Has this year gone fast or not? I'm not sure. It's been a crazy year so far with the cold weather, the freezing stuff, lack of water, electricity, and everything else. Now it's like 80 degrees outside. This weather doesn't know what to do. But we're already in March. That kind of sounds like spring to me. We're getting into Big Brother season. We're going to talk about that tonight as well. Hope y'all are all doing fantastic. I hope y'all had a great weekend and a decent Monday. You know, you do the best you can on every day of the week. So a great Monday to y'all. Welcome to Cliff Notes Live. As I start off, let me just give a big old quick SKD 143. I love my wife. I love my kids. I love everyone that's out here watching the show. I love all of the reality TV fans around the world. Such a cool community. So thank you for joining in. And I don't know, we'll talk about a few things tonight. I'm kind of open-ended. If y'all got any specific questions or any topics, we'll cover those as well. But it's Cliff Notes. So I actually do take a few notes. You may not be able to tell. Yeah. A lot of y'all may say, man, Cliff, he just gets out here and rambles about anything. Yeah, I could do that too. But I try to take a few notes about things I want to talk about and all that. But I'm open to y'all's as well. So howdy to all of y'all. Now I've seen a few names out here. Some people came out pretty quick. So welcome, Don. Yes, indeed. You are first. You came in at 5:15. So I hope you haven't just been sitting here in the computer waiting all that time, but welcome to you and Amanda and Joshy P, Caden Ma, Carl Johnson, Anthony, all my friends right here, Cindy, David, Chicky D as well, Angie. It's so cool seeing Brian. Hey, Brian. It's great seeing everyone's names out here week after week. It just makes me feel, gives me a warm fuzzy. The more I think about it, I went back and forth. I used to do the show on TV Co. and I did Monday and Thursday. And I remember there was a lot of talk about what days I wanted to do the show. And I said, well, I don't want to do it during, on like Wednesdays while Big Brother's playing and all of that. And weekends is kind of tough. So eventually I said, well, let's just do it Monday. That sounds all right. But I was a little bit worried. Like, no one wants Monday. What is cool? What is great about Monday? But now I'm glad I did. It's such a fun way to start the week. So welcome to all of y'all and Ma, howdy indeed. So let's get right into it. What's going on in the Hogg household, the Hogg world, y'all's world as well. Hey, we all share it together. As usual, as people come in, I'll throw out a little trivial bits here and there. Starting with today is National, and I got a couple of good ones. Well, let me do this one first. First of all, let's talk about today is National Peanut Butter Lovers Day. I don't know about y'all. I love me some peanut butter. When I traveled all over the world, I usually would take a few snacks with me. Lots of times it was peanut butter crackers, but lots of times as well, I would go into a grocery store when I got to a new country and try to buy a few staples, a few goodies, if I was going to be there for more than just a day or two. And I remember being in like South America, for example, Venezuela and Bolivia, two places I think of right off the bat, where I thought, man, worst comes to worst, if I don't have a chance to eat because I'm busy with meetings, things like that, I'm at least going to buy some bread, some peanut butter, and some jelly, and I'm set. That's all I need. I guarantee in a Big Brother house, forget the slop. If they gave me peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, I wouldn't eat anything. I could be in the house for a couple of years and just eating nothing but peanut butter and jelly if I had to. But it's amazing. In South America, I could get the peanut butter, I could get the bread, but I never could find grape jelly. I guess I didn't realize that wasn't an international food. I always assumed grape jelly, everyone eats that. But no, wasn't the case, at least not in my experience in South America. But it is National Peanut Butter Lovers Day. Try to say that 3 times fast. I remember inside the Big Brother house, we always had to be careful because Tommy had a big, I think I've talked about it before, Tommy had a big peanut allergy in the house. And so he kept his own jelly in the back refrigerator. So spoons or knives that had peanut butter wouldn't accidentally get mixed with his jelly from the jar we used in the front fridge. So we were extremely careful. I feel so bad for Tommy not being able to eat peanut butter. He's really missing out. But hey, breathing is better than peanut butter, right? So I think Tommy made the right decision. So welcome to National Peanut Butter Day. And thank you, peanut butter gods out there for giving us such a delicious treat. I got social media on my mind, not tweet. It's a treat. So do have that. Parker, yeah. J.J. Watt signed with Arizona, and he's no longer going to be a Houston Texan, which we already knew it wasn't going to be the case. He's going to Arizona. I'm going to cheer for J.J. Watt wherever he goes. I think most of the people in Houston, he doesn't have anyone upset because he left. We all get it. He's such a huge advocate for the Houston community. So even though J.J. Watt's left, everyone down here, we're still going to be cheering for him. I'm glad he's in Arizona because Arizona doesn't play Houston twice a year. If he'd gone to Tennessee or the Steelers, that would have been tough or Indianapolis. Oh, that would have been horrible. So it'd be hard to cheer for the Texans against J.J. Watt. But yeah, let him go over to the NFC and play for Arizona. He's there with Dondre Hopkins, who used to be a receiver for the Texans as well. So I hope they do great. I'll cheer for J.J. Watt no matter where he is because he's just an incredible guy. So there you go. Those of you who don't follow football, that's all right. We aren't going to talk about it all the time, but yeah, I'll throw that out as well. Let's see what else. Cliff, will you be watching BB Canada 9? Yeah, Chicky D, I'll be watching it. I'm trying to figure out exactly how I'm going to watch it. And from what I can understand, I'll find the links on Google. I think all of y'all can Google it as well. I don't think episodes are going to be hard to watch. Watching the live feeds may be a little bit tougher. You got to do a few things here and there, and I'm going to figure it out. So I'll watch it. I'm probably not going to watch it quite to the level of Big Brother USA like I did last summer with the AllStars, where I stayed up every night watching, and then I'd do the morning update. That'd be fun to do again, but if I recall, Big Brother Canada has a curfew. They go to bed at a certain hour, because I remember last season them trying to get Jamar to go to bed, and he was making faces at the camera and just having fun. So there's not as much merit. It seems like the Canadians don't stay up all night long like we did in our house. So it'd be a little tougher to stay up and do the commentary and all that. So I probably won't do a daily update or anything like that. But yeah, I absolutely will be watching. I've already seen the house. Hey, y'all see the background, right? This is a have-not room. This is the ball pit. Can y'all imagine having this as your have-not room? All I can think is a couple of things. One, this ball pit, there's got to be clues hidden in there somewhere. Have-not pass or something. There could be horrible things hiding in there as well. You wouldn't know. Be like the remember Star Wars, the first one where they're in the garbage pit and the monster comes up from the bottom. How would you have to be sleeping in a ball pit, sound asleep, and all of a sudden a hand comes up and grabs your ankle from underneath it and just drags you around? That'd scare the heck out of me. Yeah, Angie, you live in Canada, so you're set. Global TV, and I think if I understand for y'all, you get live feeds for free and all of that. Not so much for us down here, but I'm gonna figure out how to do it as best as I can. But yeah, this ball pit ought to be amazing to sleep in. All I can think, when I was in the Big Brother house, I was so worried because I didn't want to snore, but I know occasionally I do a little snoring, and I didn't want to get everyone irritated with me. I can only imagine being in this ball pit. People are already frustrated. They're mad that they have not. They're trying to sleep in a very uncomfortable environment. And here I am over in a corner snoring away. I have a feeling a lot of these balls would get launched in my direction. I'd have no clue who threw it. I would just keep getting woken up with a ball to the nose here and there. And yeah, that could be interesting. I see this ball pit, and it makes me think of one of the very first jobs I had growing up as a teenager. I worked at Six Flags Over Texas during the summer, which was such a fun job. Man, I had a blast doing it. But in the off season, one time I went to the local Chuck E. Cheese restaurant and said, "Hey, I'd love to work here as well." And they hired me. They put me in the game room, which was pretty cool. I'm the guy who went around with the pocket full of change and made change for the tokens, or made change so they could get tokens. And if the machine didn't work, I'd go mark it up and I'd give them refunds, things like that. But I also had to work in the kids area. And part of that involved working in the ball pit area. And I don't know how many kids I rescued who would get out in the middle of the pit and get stuck or start crying or start fighting, or the parents wanted them out of the ball pit. It was time to go and they wouldn't go, and I'd have to go grab them and yank them out of there. So I was the bad guy. I was the one that turned off the fun for these kids. But I was in that pit. I had to also go in there and look for things. Some kid, his sock would come off, and it's like, you want me to crawl all around this ball pit just to find this little sock? Well, yeah, if you could. So I'd go get the socks out of the ball pits and things like that. We once had a woman who lost a engagement ring while she was trying to get her kid out of the pit her ring slipped off, and we all spent an hour or so before we found that ring. So it was always exciting. But yeah, that's what makes me think of my past life. So yeah, it'll be fun. I'll definitely be watching Big Brother. We'll talk about that maybe a little bit as well. Let me look at these comments a little bit. Yeah, working the ball pits at Chuck E. Cheese was quite interesting. You know, it is what it is. It was always fun. I had a blast watching the kids have so much fun in there because they just have a blast. Give a kid a pit filled with balls and they're set. Give it to me as well. I'd have fun in there for a little while. There'd be other people snoring in there. I'd be throwing the balls at them as well. So I can't get upset if anyone did it to me. Will Skip, thank you for viewing my Instagram story last time. No, I'm happy to. I love going out and seeing what all these other people are up to. All right. Last week you mentioned it's hard to get into the first seasons of Big Brother. If you haven't watched season 3, that was a decent season. Thank you, Jeffrey. I have not watched season 3 yet. I've read a little bit about it, but I haven't actually watched it. So yeah, maybe I will try to go back and watch a few seasons. I need to. I talked to Tommy Bracco. He said he's watched every season after he got out of the house. He's watched every season a couple of times. I haven't done that. I don't know. I like my season. I remember the other seasons, but I haven't gone back and just started watching over and over again. Maybe I should, but one of these days we'll see. Angie Hung. I didn't think that. Yeah, both from Canada, both same initials. I know Angie's from Canada. Angie Hung, Angie Hurst. I mean Canada, from Alberta and Calgary. I was watching a YouTube video just a couple of days ago. I'm not sure if I ever actually saw it of Kat documenting the trip that she and I and Nicole made to Calgary when we visited Cowboys nightclub and was a host there. And it was so much fun. Oh, okay, Angie, you're from Ontario. Okay. I've never been to Ontario. I'd love to go. I've been to the East Coast. I've been to Alberta. I really haven't been to the, what do you call it? The mid-continent? Does that make sense for the Ontario area? I haven't been there, but I'd love to go and visit one of these days. If COVID ever leaves us alone, one of these days, I'll certainly do a little more visiting up here. Nowhere else I'd rather go visit. Well, I like to visit a lot of places, but yeah, Canada'd be a lot of fun. It's so different. Alberta versus Newfoundland and the East Coast, such different parts of the country, such different people. Friendly both ways, but yeah, the East Coast fishermen, and it's cold and everything, and then the western provinces, Alberta, the cowboy and all, just such different countries. And then you got Quebec right in the middle. Canada, y'all got as many different regional sections as we do down here, so it's always cool. Can I show y'all pics as a teenager? Ma the person is asking. Yeah, I could probably find one or two. I know one or two were posted out there when I was in the Big Brother house. I don't know, some of my high school graduation photos or something, like yearbook photos, something like that. So yeah, I'll show y'all a few. I'll give you a little hint. Back then, I kept my hair a little bit longer, not so different. Definitely a little skinnier. Back then, I was Mr. Beanpole. I was decently tall and all that, but I was just skinny and all that. So yeah, over the last 40 years or so since then, haven't grown that much taller, but grown a little bit wider as well. It's okay. That's just the way life goes. It's because I got a wife who gives me such incredible cooking, so I'm not complaining one bit. Ma, what's your favorite season that you watched? Yeah, I think it's probably season 8. It was my all-time favorite. It's the first season I watched all the way through. Had Evil Dick and Jen and all, and it was they were just crazy in the house. But it was very interesting. It got me hooked immediately. There've been other ones. I like 20. I like 16. It's so hard to say. There have been very few seasons where I absolutely just said, God, this is horrible. I can't stand this one. There's been a few where there wasn't near as much chaos and it was a little too expected all the way through. Last season, it's all stars and all that, so it's fun watching plays. But yeah, it's a little not as much excitement as some of the others. It was too much control by one side. But even the seasons that people don't especially like, there's always something fun to watch. If you're not watching it for strategy, there's always a few personalities in there. And I think about seasons, with Paul in there, and people said, "Oh, Paul controlled everyone on." Yeah, but you still had characters like Raven and Josh, and every season there's something cool to be found about it. Ma saying, "Remind me of my dad. Used to be skinny, but metabolism got up to him." Yeah, well, that happens. You can get away with a whole lot more when you're younger. Plus, when I was in college, I rode my bike everywhere. I ran everywhere. I did a lot of activity. And then when I worked in the oil fields, I was out there. I could have held my own in the Big Brother house in any competition back then. Nowadays, you know, you got to pick and choose. You got to rely. I had to rely on the social game more than anything else. But yeah, I tell you a little story. I'm already getting off the track from notes I was going to talk about, but that's okay. When I was in college, one of the jobs that I got was as a pizza delivery. Yeah, a pizza place right across the street from campus and everything. And they asked me when I hired on, I said, yeah, you got to do deliveries. Do you have a car? Yeah, I got a car. I'm fine. And they said, okay, most of them will be on campus with bicycles, but there are some off campus. Yeah, I got a car, no problem. Well, that was the case until, I don't know, a month or so later when my car broke down on me. I couldn't figure out what was going on, couldn't fix it. But I didn't want to quit my job. So I didn't tell anyone that I didn't have a bicycle or that I didn't have a car. I just said, yeah, 90% of the jobs, deliveries will still be on campus. So I would try to make sure that any house delivery that came up off campus that involved a car, I would quickly grab an order for on campus and go deliver that. So someone else had to do it. But once or twice, more than once or twice, a few times I was the only person there. It was a delivery and I'd say, yeah, okay, I'll go ahead and deliver it. No problem. And I would get on my bike and I would ride as fast as I could to wherever this house was. And for the most part, you know, they were a mile away or so. So it wasn't that big a deal. But I remember on one or two occasions, it was right at the edge of our delivery zone. You really should have done it by car. It's probably 4 or 5 miles or so. But I'd hop on that bicycle. I would take off flying, driving that bike and get there as quick as I could to drop off the order and get back in time. Did it the whole semester. They never figured it out, never realized that I would come back from delivering a pizza from the car and I'm huffing and I'm puffing and I'm sweating and I'm working out a little bit. And they didn't care. As long as the pizza got delivered, everyone was fine with it. So yeah, that was, I remember that. I remember that well. You do what you have to when you're in college and needing money. You do what you have to do to get those jobs to work. All right, let's see. I'm missing out on some of this. First term of college ended yesterday. You got an A in both classes. Cindy, congratulations, my friend. You're on the right path. You're obviously doing the work that it takes to get the grades, and you're gonna be happy in the end. You'll see the benefits from it, and hey, job well done. That's great. I got A's in classes. I got a few other grades as well, but you know what? I've never regretted getting the chance to get the education and all that. Let's see. Dawn, I'm one of the few people who actually liked Raven. I was okay with Raven. She was just, I see what she got on the show, right? What a character. What a quirky individual. Yeah, she may have exaggerated a few of her feats and her skills and things like that, but whatever. She was fun to watch. That's what a lot of people don't realize. I know there's people have criticized casting of, you know, these shows and all that. Say, this person's hard. Why would you ever put this person on? Y'all got to remember, who do we not want to see on some of these reality shows? Someone who's boring, that doesn't stir up any passion for you, good or bad. Those are the people that you say, just get out. Why do we care about seeing you on the screen? People want to see people who either make you really happy or make you really mad, stir up the emotion, stir up the passion one way or the other. And Raven did that. She certainly had people that really liked her and people that really hated her. So that's part of it. If I've got time, I'm going to tell y'all a little bit of story. If I don't do it this week, I'll do it next week. A little story about a reality TV show over in Australia and a couple of women who are just complete villains and kind of talking about what happens when you get out of the house and all that. So we'll talk about it in a second. We can. Angie, what do you think of Big Brother Canada's quick replacement of Ethan with the internet gossip? Yeah, wasn't that something? I saw the cast reveal come out. I actually went real quick through and read the bios of all of them and everything else. And I remember looking at Ethan. And of course, you don't know that much just from reading the bio, but all I can think is, man, that guy's kind of young. He's 23, and I think he worked as a line cook or something. So fairly young compared to everyone, especially seems like Big Brother Canada, maybe at age a little bit higher than what we see in Big Brother USA, which I like. I saw there's two ladies that are both in their, I want to say in their 40s, I think, two older than your average age Big Brother contestant. So I got a couple of people I'm going to be cheering on just because I got to cheer for the old folks in there trying to survive, right? But yeah, he got replaced pretty quick, and I intentionally tried to, I didn't get into social media as much during that day or two because I just didn't want to, I don't know, people digging for the dirt and the info and all of that. And so I kind of heard some of what he was alleged, and I'll make sure to say alleged. I know there's like a video out there and stuff too, but you know, some stuff that was claimed, some stuff that there's a little video evidence for as well. And you know, nothing goes away. Nothing goes away in this world. So those of you who are big in social media and all that, God, you got to be careful, because it's not like it's not like when I was growing up where, you know, some goofball and you say something in 6th grade, you know, and that's the end of it. But now you can be in middle school, you can be in high school, you can be in college, you post something and there's no guarantee it's not going to come back to haunt you from that point forward. So yeah, I guess I'm glad to see Big Brother being proactive and trying to make sure that that everyone that's competing in these games gives everyone a fair shake and doesn't cause disruptions before the game even starts. So, you know, I don't want to comment too much because I don't know these people, and it's easy just to call out someone based on something which may or may not reflect truly who they are. So I'm hesitant to even say anything, except I trust the people to make the decisions that need to be made to protect the integrity of the reality TV. And that's all I'm looking for, right? So we got that. All right. Asking, is the diary room really soundproof, or can you hear from the other side? Sorry, guys, I'm trying to keep you up with these questions. Yes, to answer. Now, I don't know about Big Brother Canada. I assume it's the same way as here, but yes, the Big Brother room, the diary room really is soundproof. If you're in there, I know when you watch on TV, you see the backdrop and it's all just a Big Brother motif or some kind of screen behind it and everything else. But if you get the 360-degree view, there's soundproofing, egg crates all around that whole room to make it as soundproof as possible. And so, no, truly, and I tried once or twice to sit on the couch and see if I could hear people talking one way or the other inside. And the only person that I really ever remember hearing talking was Tommy, because Tommy gets in there. I already figured his diary rooms were going to be crazy because you could hear him screaming. You couldn't hear regular conversations, but every once in a while you'd hear him, something like that. And so, yes, you can occasionally hear someone that's in the diary room, but you can't really make out words or anything else. So they try to keep that from happening, and then they did a good job of it. Now, someone else, Joshy P, who I think is out here, had asked the question last week, and I never got to it about, and I'll paraphrase because I don't remember the exact wording, but basically, are you explaining the rules of these competitions ahead of time, or is it really that you're just reading it out from a sheet of paper when you do the competition? Well, it's both, and it's both. Sometimes you just read the piece of paper and that's it. I'll tell you the way it worked. There were a few competitions that were a little more involved, where we actually would be pulled off to the side and explain the rules, just to make sure that we understood there weren't anything that we did wrong that they had to stop us in the middle. For example, the counting sheep. Was it counting sheep? I think so. Where we had to grab the sheep that added up to a certain number, put it in our pen. I think y'all probably didn't see it, but we were read the rules ahead of time. The sheep were brought in and we all saw them for the first time. We were surprised. We didn't know it was going to be sheep. But after the sheep were all running around in the pens and everything, then we heard producers over the loudspeaker saying, all right, guys, here's some of the rules that you have to follow. I know Jack had read out the rules that you hear on the episode about, catch a sheep, put them in the pen, adds up to the right number, all that. But they read extra rules to us saying, look, you can't grab the sheep around the neck. You can't grab it by its wool. You can't pick it up. So they told us all these things that we couldn't do in the interest of, being kind to the sheep and not hurting them or anything else. So there's times like that where they actually just stop the full thing, read all the rules to us and say, do y'all all understand? Yeah, we got it. There may have been one or two others like the hang on fright where we were up on the wall saying, them saying you can't turn around, you can't grab someone else as you go down, pull them off. I don't remember what they were, but there's times where you get read the rules like that. There's other times where you absolutely, like BB Comics, I think, where you just come out and there's the rules and you read it out. They say, Cliff, can you read the whole copy? And yeah, you read it all out. And normally they would then say, okay, do you understand the rules, Cliff? Do you have any questions? No, I'm good. They'd say, okay, we'll do it. And so that sometimes competitions, that's all you get is just reading the deals, and that was it. All right. Chicky D, Kenny, and Parker, have you heard about pay-per-view Big Brother boxing match? Oh yes, indeed I have. Such a goofy thing that's going to be so much fun. Be very interesting. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, there's been an announcement that there's going to be an exhibition match. I think it's benefiting charity in some way. I don't know which charity, but as long as for charity, it sounds fun. It's an exhibition boxing match. Big Brother USA versus Big Brother Canada. They're going to I don't know how many I think there's 7 fights scheduled right now. I guess a few rounds per fight. I don't know the details. And then I think Ryan Ballantyne from Big Brother Canada is going to be one of the host or the commentators as well. I think Mark Long, maybe. I don't remember all the Big Brother Canada folks involved, but I know from the Big Brother US side, it looks like we're going to have Nick from my season going against Michael Stubley. I love Nick. I'll be cheering for Nick, but I think he's going to get killed. Well, but maybe he'll surprise me. But Nick's going to be fighting. Rockstar is going to be fighting against Madeline Nuns, I think. Fessy is fighting. Casey is fighting. Josh Martinez is going to fight. Josiah is going to fight. And then Enzo is going to fight as well. And I don't have all the matchups of who they're going against, but I look at the 7 Big Brother USA people who are going up against the Canadians. First off, USA. Yeah, I'll cheer for both sides. But when it comes down to it, if I was a betting man, knowing as little as I do right now, if I was a betting man, I'd probably say Canada probably wins this thing 4-3. And I'm not going to tell you who I think's going to win or who I think's going to lose. And maybe my opinion will change in the future. But right now, I'd have to say, Canada may win this thing 4-3. But it'll be a lot of fun. I'll have fun watching them pound the tar out of each other. There's people like Fessy who athletic enough, strong enough. His may be very physical and very interesting. Others may be a little more entertaining than others. But yeah, that's going to be that's going to be fun. I don't know any of I don't think they've released any of the details except for that right there. They didn't contact me, which is probably good. I don't know. Other than running around acting like Rocky and wearing some red, white, and blue trunks or something, I'd probably have a hard time with it. But here's the other deal. They haven't had a 50-year-old guy over on the Big Brother Canada side. So who would they match me against? They'd have to match me up against someone a little bit younger. And I'd probably, I don't know. I think I could take a hit. I think they could throw a few punches and I'd still be standing there. But that'd be tough. I'd be over the course and cut me. Yeah, they'd probably be after first round. I'd probably be doing that. Yeah, but it's gonna be a lot of fun. Willskate, do you get bored, irritated with all the, or annoyed with all the Big Brother questions? No, not at all. I figure if y'all aren't fans of Big Brother, you're probably not going to be out here following me. For those of you who aren't Big Brother fans and you're still following, thank you. I absolutely appreciate that. But no, that's why I'm out here, because y'all wouldn't know who I was if it wasn't for Big Brother. So no, I'm happy to share. I'm a Big Brother fan myself. I was well before I went on the show, so I always had all my questions about the show, and so now I'm always happy to answer the Big Brother questions. There's some things that under contract and all that, we're still not allowed to talk about everything, but I'll tell y'all everything I can. There's not much that I haven't told y'all before, and I'm happy to say it all again. Josh Martinez. Yeah, I can see Josh. Big meatball. And he says that right before he takes a fall. And I don't know. Josh may be okay. I mean, people make fun of Josh because he's kind of fun the way he gets poked and prodded, and it's easy to get him ramped up and everything. But I bet he could throw a punch here or there. I'd love to see Josh. It's Big Brother USA versus Canada, so we can't have it. It would have been fun to watch Mark and Josh go against each other, because they had a big beef with each other while they were in the house throwing pickle juice and all that stuff. Y'all remember the pots and pans and all. It'd be fun watching them go against each other as well. But we won't see that. Maybe that's for somewhere down the road. Joshy P, are all the comps in the backyard? Remembering that the safety suite wasn't. No, Josh P, not all of them are in the backyard. There are a few that took place somewhere else on the CBS soundstage, and I can't tell you where they were because I don't know. Anytime we left the confines of Big Brother house, we were blindfolded and we were no talking, nothing. I mean, it was, but there was once or twice for And I don't know if it was for weather related reasons or just because they were busy building one set, so they had to have another location for the competition. But there were a few competitions that didn't take place in the backyard. During my season, the Whacktivities did not take place in the backyard. They did those elsewhere. So, without going a whole lot of detail, not all of them are in backyard, but other than just a handful, one or two, here and there, everything else truly is in the backyard. That's why we had the backyard for so few days every week, because they're always building back there. And we spent so much time, I've said this before, I know, we spent so much time trying to listen to what was being built, see if I could hear, is it mainly wood that's going up? Is it hammering, or is it saws, or cranes? What's going on? I know once I just had my ear right up against the back window, the sliding door, trying to see if I could hear everything. And I did it for a little too long, because all of a sudden I heard, Cliff, stop that, or Cliff, no, something like that. And Big Brother called me out and said, get away from the window. So, or the door. So yeah, I always tried to pick up the hints to see if there was any way I could figure out maybe what the competition was going to be in the backyard, because you always would hear the hammering and everything else. And there was times as well, if the backyard shut down early, like early Tuesday morning or Monday night, then we would all say, oh man, they shut this thing down so early. Is this going to be a huge, big competition? Maybe a huge set. So maybe, does that mean it's BB Comics? Does that mean it's Hang On Fry, with the wall competition? We're always trying to figure that out. And when they shut the backyard down a little bit earlier than normal, then that's when we immediately all would say, oh, it's a double eviction. They must have two different sets out in the back. They're building two different competitions, one for the HOH and one for the veto competition. It's got to be double eviction this week. We spent 5 or 6 weeks saying it was double eviction, and every week we were wrong until finally the last time they said it was double eviction. And we're like, oh yeah, we predicted it. We got it right. We know what's going on. Yeah. Eventually, you say it every week, it's gonna happen. So yeah, it was fun. Willis, was it super awkward after the Tommy and Nikki fight? No, well, a little bit. It was a little awkward right after the fight, before the eviction itself, because we're all locked down. When they get ready for the live eviction, we end up having to go to the HOH room and hang out upstairs, locked down, so people can come in and do their, I don't know, whatever they do to prep for the live night. Make sure the camera angles are right, the lights are on. Someone's calling. Someone's home, but he's not answering. So after the fight happened, then we were upstairs in the HOH room, and they play music, and we're told you cannot talk strategy or anything else. So it's not like Nicole and I could sit up there and talk, or we couldn't talk to Tommy and Mickey and Holly, and you had to not talk. And so most times when we were locked down, we would just talk about random other things. Everyone that was up there, things that had nothing to do with the game, just personal life, things like that. I remember that particular Thursday, though, after that big fight, no one said a word. We just all sat up there. I think Mickey and Holly were probably sitting in the bed, not saying a word, just sitting there with each other. Tommy's in one chair, and Nicole and I are over in the couch, not saying a word. And it was very awkward, very uncomfortable, because everything's on the line at that point in time, and it was a kind of tough. But so that was awkward. But once the eviction happened, once the show was over, and we're all back together and everything, it's not awkward now. It's the game. It's the way it was played. But yeah, after the fight, it was a little awkward. Hayden saying, does the toilet have a lock? No, Hayden, it does not have a lock. Now, it used to. And if you look on the inside of the toilet, you can see where there used to be a little slide lock that you could lock it. But I can't remember who it was. A few seasons back, someone passed out while they were in the toilet, a female, and just stress and dehydration, all the things that can happen to a person, and got lightheaded, passed out. And so after that, I think it's when, and I don't know this for certain, but I think that's when they took the lock off. So instead, on that toilet, all we had was a little dial that you could turn left or right. And on the outside, it would either be green, vacant, or red, occupied. And you just had to assume that people were going to honor that and look at it. And once or twice, people didn't. For me, I don't think anyone was in a big hurry to walk in there. So I never had an issue with that, I don't think. But I know once or twice someone would accidentally walk in not paying attention. But no locks. So privacy a little bit limited, but hey, welcome to the Big Brother house. If that's going to bother you too much, then you probably shouldn't be there, right? So yeah, there you go. All right, let's see if I can catch up with some more of these. Cliff, if they did another All-Stars, would you go on it if asked? Cindy said, yeah, I'd go on it. I'd have to ask my wife. I'd have to get permission from the boss. But as long as she said yes, that yeah, I'd do it in a heartbeat. Why not? Yeah, you only live life once. So as I continually say out here, turning down adventure is not something I normally do. Now, priority is always to take care of your family first. I mean, I have to do that. But as long as it didn't interfere with that objective and that goal, then yeah, I'd be there in a heartbeat. And the big question would be, would I play the game the same way? Or would I try to shake it up a little bit just to surprise people and surprise y'all a little bit, show another side of my my gameplay? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. I kind of played the game the way I am as a person, so I can't say I'd change it too much, but you never know. All right, Jeffrey, a second bathroom. How about a whole new house? Tired of the one they've been using. Yeah, well, I don't know. I got to say, Jeffrey, I kind of like the idea that every season the house is more or less the same except for the theme, just because it's so cool when I walked in there and I realized that this is the same kitchen. These are the same bedrooms, same HOH that all these people I've watched that they used. And now here I am. There was something cool about that, but I get it. Yeah, I mean, and then I look at the Big Brother Canada set. Pretty cool set they've got. I love my house. Some people complained about it. I got no problem. I love the outdoor theme and everything else, but Big Brother Canada houses are kind of cool. Joshy, why were the feeds off during the Whacktivity if they weren't in the backyard? I don't know. Well, no, I probably know that because while a Whacktivity is going on, for those people that were involved, 5 people per Whacktivity, everyone else was sent up to the HOH room and locked indoors, I think. And they turned on the music and if I recall, I'm pretty sure, and no one was allowed to talk strategy during that time period because I guess it's the producers didn't want everyone scheming against the 5 people who were in that Whacktivity because they couldn't participate in the conversations and everything else because they were removed from the game to compete. So I think that's what it was. They just didn't want a lot of other people plotting against the people that were outside. And so they made it the rule that you're upstairs, you can't talk game, you can listen to music, and we'll get you when you come back. And so as a result, y'all couldn't watch the live feeds because you don't want to watch people just listening to music and talking about everything except the game of Big Brother. So I think that's probably why it was off. Let's see. Angie, The Circle's a reality show on Netflix where people are in their own private rooms. Yeah, it's a little different. Can be whoever they want with the person being evicted each time. I love The Circle. I think they're coming back for another season as well. Shuby and a few others on that Circle. Chris Sapphire, just a lot of fun people on the show. I don't know that I would be as great at that show as others because I'm an old fuddy-duddy. I like the face-to-face interactions and smiling and laughing and doing the things that I do. If I'm just stuck in a room just doing nothing but tweeting or using the Circle to send messages, I wouldn't feel as comfortable. The lack of the personal contact would really get to me. Hey, that would have driven me crazy. Talking to someone only through the Circle TV screens and all that'd be a little tough. It'd be fun to try, but I don't think I'd do as well as that. But you never know. I guess I would figure it out. Bob So 08. Do you hear the music playing in the backyard comps during the live show? I don't think so. That doesn't mean they weren't playing. And as I say that, I guess maybe I do remember hearing music sometimes, just the background music. In fact, the more I think about it, I think I probably did hear the music, but I was so focused on the game that the last thing I was thinking about was the music. I remember, for instance, the Battle Back competition. It seems like maybe there's some music playing and some clock ticking or something. I don't remember. I barely even recognized Julie Chen. Barely recognized anything during that time. I was so focused on that game. Julie, I remember her talking once or twice. The only thing I really remember her saying was one time, Ovi's got 1 ball in. So I was thinking, really? That's it? I got so many. No one else has anything. And I remember her saying, house guess you got like 30 seconds left or something, or a minute left. And I gave a little smart aleck remark about, I don't need that much time. So I remember Julie talking, double eviction. I remember her talking as well, but we are so focused on the competition. I just had my ears turned off. I wasn't even really paying attention to those things. But yeah, as you say, I think there was music and I think we did hear it So I don't think it was played after the fact or anything. Now, some of them, like the slip and slide, that were a little bit longer, they may add in some music or something as well, because I just don't remember one way or the other. All right, let's see. Maybe we should let Cliff get to his notes. Yeah, Jeffrey, that's all right. I love answering questions, so I don't have any problems with that at all. I thought about trying out for either Love Island or Temptation Nation, but 300+ pound man would not be good TV. You never know, Parker. Hey, don't ever shortchange yourself and think that there may not be opportunities. Go for it. But here's the thing. I always tell people, and now that Big Brother auditions are coming up for the Big Brother US season as well, you can't say it's pass or fail based on whether or not you get on the show. Try out. Have fun with the trying out. Man, show up at the Temptation Island or Love Island tryouts. Be who you are and get a smile on other people's faces. Let everyone know that you own who you are, and you're fine with it. And if other people have an issue with it, well, fine, that's on them. But you can make people smile. You can make people have fun. You can enjoy the journey and trying out. That's what I did when I tried out. I didn't think I was ever going to get on. I was just there having fun with it and giving people a hard time and laughing in line and telling jokes and everything else. And for all I know, people were watching over on the sides, and maybe that helped me get on. But I was just there to have fun. There wasn't any ulterior motive, and that's the way you got to treat it. So go try out, and hey, what's the worst that's going to happen? You'll be home watching it just like you may be doing it anyway. So it doesn't hurt anything to do it. All right, let's see what else. All right, let's get to a couple of notes real quick. Angie saying Dream Show is Amazing Race. The Big Brother US stars with the Canadian fans. I'd love to do Amazing Race. It'd be so much fun. And yeah, hey, grab some of the Canadian. The Amazing Race is so many different places. I think it'd be fun to grab some Canadians, some Americans, some Australians. Grab them from a whole lot of different parts around the world. Put them all together and maybe race to some neutral countries, or hey, maybe we visit all those countries and one or two of us has a leg up when you get to your home area. You say that, but heck, there's lots of places here in the United States I've never been to, so I wouldn't have a leg up on anyone else on the show either. But yeah, I'm having so much fun watching Amazing Race every season. I'm just glad it's back. I'm waiting for the next season already. And Angie only wants to do the Amazing Race or their circle. I know, and I think you do fantastic at both of them, Angie. And I'd be cheering you on, right? Oh, that'd be so cool. If I see one of those shows premiere and your name's on there, I'm just going to be doing cartwheels. It'd be incredibly exciting. Angie Hurst, I'm enjoying the Australian Amazing Race at the moment. I follow the Australian Amazing Race, which probably is not a good idea because I get all the updates and I haven't actually been able to go out and watch that show yet. A time or two I tried, I couldn't find the stream and everything, so I'm gonna have to get caught back up to it. But I think Australia's Amazing Race is doing all inside the country. They aren't traveling outside Australia because of COVID restrictions and things like that. So that's kind of cool for them. And they're getting to see a lot of their country. That country is huge. I mean, you got the East Coast where most people live, and then you got Western Australia with Perth that very few people except oil field type folks live, and a whole lot of desert in between. So yeah, I'm gonna get caught up on that as well. All right, let me do a couple of notes because otherwise, all right, I'll answer this one, Amanda, and then we'll go to some notes I had. Do they tell you not to talk about politics, religion, etc.? Nah, there's no, I guess there's no limits. If there are, they didn't tell us any. I think most of us just recognize that politics, especially in this day and age, can be so divisive. Why in the world would you talk about it and risk alienating half of the people, regardless of what your opinions are? You're going to have some people get upset at you for a reason. Religion, no, I don't know. I got to say, I think everyone, at least in my season, was pretty open to whatever. So I don't think it would have been an issue. It's just, it just wasn't really talked about that much. And, Sam's grandfather, I can't remember which, was a minister, and also we talked about it, and they had the Bible in there, and we occasionally lots of us read the Bible and talked about it a little bit, just because it's interesting, and anything you can have discussions with other people is always nice. So no, they never gave us any restrictions on what we could talk about. So we had that. All right, a couple of notes. All right, I told y'all about National Peanut Butter Loafer Day. Let me throw two more. God, I can't believe it's already 7:45. Did y'all know that today is also National Pig Day? I had to throw that out there, right? Hog, pig. Yeah, y'all get it. Speaking of, I always wondered whenever I traveled to the Middle East, what people thought about me, because pork is the forbidden meat. Forget the other white meat and all that. Pork is forbidden in the Muslim faith. It's considered dirty, impure, all that. I didn't know what they ever thought about when they saw my last name of Hogg and thought, oh, what a horrible, what people do to make you mad? They to get mad at you to give you that last name or something. But I never had any issues with that. I just always wondered about that when people were looking at my passports and everything. But today is National Pig Day. I don't know how many of y'all know. My name, William Clifford Hogg III. I'm named after my father. But my father never went by William Hogg Jr. Not really. His name, and it was nickname, but it was his name, was Porky. Porky Hogg. Yes, indeed. And that was not just as an old or anything else. When he was 2 or 3 years old, he had some aunts that started calling him Porky because the Porky Pig cartoons and all that. And it stuck. And he went through his whole life as Porky Hogg. It was in the phone book as Porky Hogg. Now, that was in the days before caller ID and everything else. Y'all think y'all get irritated by a lot of spam calls and telemarketing calls and things like that come into y'all's phones? Try having the name of Porky Hogg and being listed in the phone book like that back in the 70s and 80s. Whoa, we got the phone calls. Friday night, I didn't have to go out. I could just stay home and answer the phone. It'd be a party at the Hogg household, just talking to all the people that were prank calling our house to talk. You meet incredible people through prank calls if you see the humor in it and everything. So yeah, my dad's name was Porky Hogg. At one point, he wanted to name me Gus. Now, I gotta say, Gus Hogg, probably name alone would have gotten me on a lot of reality TV shows, Big Brother included. That just has a ring to it, right? I'm either be a reality TV star or be a rodeo cowboy with that kind of name. Seems like one or the other is the case, but he wanted to name me Gus. My mom said, yeah, I'm not such a huge fan. And to all the people named Gus out there, it's a hell of a name, but just combined with Hogg, maybe not quite there. But she talked him into naming me after himself instead, and I'm very proud to carry the name also. But yeah, so National Pig Day, and when else do you get to tell a story about your dad's nickname and all of that? So celebrate National Pig. Go eat some bacon, unless you're Muslim. Then you can buy some of that fake ham like Fessy had during his season, and let me know how tasty it is. I have a feeling I'd rather stick with the real bacon. It's funny, in the Middle East, I never ate pork, bacon, pork, anything, even though sometimes it was available in the hotels and everything. One, I don't want to offend other people's culture, and when in Rome, do as the Romans do. So I always figured if they don't want to eat pork, I'm not going to eat pork in front of them. That's a little offensive. So I would eat whatever the turkey, bacon, things like that they had instead was. That was pretty good. I never had a huge issue with it. So we had that. All right, Brian, would you say trust is the most important strategy to help you in the house? Yeah, well, I don't know that it's trust per se. I think it's having people think they can trust you. Yeah, I don't know. There's plenty of people who have done just fine with a whole lot of backstabbing and everything else. I think the most important strategy of all has to be flexibility. You've got to be willing to shift on a dime and change things up when things change. At the time when Kat and I were on the block, and I was trying to work with Mickey and Holly because I felt like he was such a strong competitor. He could help carry me and all that. But suddenly I'm on the block, and I had to be flexible. I had to tell Nick and Tommy and everyone on that side, yeah, I'll join your alliance. I got no problem with that. I'll go after Mickey. Just protect me, guys. Sure, I'm a free agent. I'll go wherever I need to go. And so the flexibility, even more than the trust, is important. Now, having said that, the fact that people in that house felt like they could trust me, I think things like that week when I said, yeah, guys, I'll join your alliance and I'll go after Mickey if you'll save me this week. Because I had the trust with them, I think they felt like they could believe me, and so it probably helped them keep me over Kat. So trust is incredibly important, but I think more than that, even it's flexibility. Joshy, I hate how people think it's all about the competition, but it's really not. The way and this is how I voted at the end of the season, I really felt like there were 3 important things to playing Big Brother that were all equally important. One was the competition side of the business. One was your social game, and then the third one was I don't even know what the third one was now. Sorry, guys. I something along the lines of social game, how your flexibility and how you adapt to the game itself. And no, it's not. It's jury management, social game. Competitions and jury management. I felt like those were the 3 things that were the the most important to how to play it. So competitions is obviously huge. I really feel if I'd won one more competition right there at the end, one of those last two, I think I could have won it. I was that close. I truly was, but I had to win one more. I didn't do it. I went home as a result. So you can't discount competition wins. Look at Mickey. He won that thing because he was so dominant in competitions, but there's a lot more than just that. You got to play the social game. Look at Bella. Bella was an incredible athlete. She didn't really get as much of a chance to prove it as she wanted. Certainly. But she was an amazing athlete, and just because the rest of her game was a little weaker, she never got the chance to actually use those her competitiveness to go further in the game. I say, Jeffrey, if you interview former players, Lisa Donahue from season 3 would be interesting. She's a good player the last half of the season. Okay, I know her name. I've never talked to her, but I need to look it up. And you're right, Cindy. Jewish can't eat pork either. So yeah. I remember on Survivor Africa, Ethan Zahn was on there and he won a whole bunch of all the ham you could eat or something. And Big Tom was so excited. He said, "I'm sorry, Ethan, you can't eat it. I guess I'll eat your share." So he was happy to see that. Joshy, what did the door upstairs lead to? Unless it was the upstairs diary room. Yeah, Joshy, there were 3 doors upstairs during my season. The door that led into the HOH, the door that led to the hallway going to the have not room. And then there was a final door, which was the upstairs diary room. And that was used sometimes the downstairs one was mainly used for filming people, doing the things y'all see on the episodes and all that. So upstairs was more if someone needed to get medicine or there's some message that needed to be passed on. I can't think of anything like that, but just paperwork kind of stuff, things like that. So the upstairs was an extra diary room just when they needed it. And so those were the 3 rooms. The other thing too is that diary room also served, I think, as an emergency exit. If you ever had to, it's a house, but it's still a business and everything. You still have to be safe. So we did have different doors throughout the place that were emergency exits that if you ever had to, you could typically push a big red button, which would set off the alarms. You could walk out that door. Now, they told us if it's not an emergency, you walk out one of these doors, you aren't coming back in. So just be prepared. But they had the emergency exits and things like that. And that's what the upstairs diary room was another way to get out if there was ever an issue. And we had a few of those. Not emergencies, emergency exits. The only emergency we had was the earthquake while we were in the house. And we were just hunkering under the tables and the beams of the doors and all that. We didn't have to leave, but it was there if we needed it. They big on safety inside that house. Oh, huge on safety. They always were paying attention, not letting us do anything that would put us at risk inside that house. And Jay and Mary, Holly didn't do much. She slid through the finale, but she only got 3 votes. All right, now I'll call you out on that a little bit. Holly played a very good game. She was behind the scenes player. She was controlling a little bit of that strategy. She also kept a leash on Mickey a few times and slowed down his role just a bit here and there. She played a lot stronger game than I think people sometimes saw. The problem was she played such a under the radar game that people didn't recognize it. And when it came time for votes, I couldn't vote for her just because of Mickey dominated in the game. And he played a great strategy game as well. I probably wouldn't have voted for Holly just because she knew Kat. I was kind of not wanting to vote for someone that knew someone else already. That seemed like a little bit of an unfair advantage. But no, Holly played a great game. I'm not going to discount her game at all. She did great to get there. I don't regret the vote I cast, but she played a decent game as well. It's just different from a lot of other people's. All right, and you're right, Jamie. She did win a few competitions as well. So yeah, she did. And saying you have voted for Holly over Mickey, Jeffrey says, I thought about it. I truly did. Don't think I've heard people say, "Oh, the votes are already decided before they ever get to the finale night and everything." That could be for some people. It wasn't for me. I went into finale night still not certain who I was going to vote for and really wanting to hear what they said in their answers and their speeches and all of that. And at the end of it, I really felt like Holly did a better job with jury management, that Mickey did a little bit better job with the strategy of the game, the social game, and that he did a much better job from a competition standpoint. So that's why I ended up going his direction. But I didn't know until that last night. I truly didn't. It was nerve-wracking. I was already out of the game. I would have thought that I would just say, what the hell? Who cares at this point? I'm not going to worry about it. But I spent a lot of nights while I was in sequester really going back and forth about who I thought deserved that win. I took it very seriously. I love the game. It's your one chance to vote someone $500,000 winner. So I was going to give it every bit of consideration I could. Cross track. I wish Holly never hooked up with Mitchie. Me too. Me too. I wish there'd been a whole lot less hooking up going on in that game, because I think it would have made it a lot easier for someone like myself to break through some of these alliances and break through some of these partnerships and everything else. I gotta say, there was a bit of fighting going on between Holly and Mickey, which gave me some thoughts that maybe they weren't as tight when it came down to the very end game and all. That wasn't the case, as it turns out, but you never know. I wasn't really sure what was going on with those two every once in a while. So whatever. Hey, you got them as far as it did in the game. So, different people, different strategies. I didn't go in thinking I was going to have a showmance to further my game, which is probably just as well. I could have won the money, but I would have lost my home and my wife and everything else. So, but no, it's there was a lot. Forget trying out for Temptation Island or Love Island. Just come on Big Brother. You get showmances you want in there instead. There was a lot of that going on. I couldn't believe it. I thought when I saw that inside the house, I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with all these people that are all partnering up? And how could I ever break those two apart? How can I ever send one of them home? Because I know the other person is just going to be so upset with me. When I wanted to send Jack home, I knew that Sis was going to be so perturbed at me. And she was. She was not happy that I didn't vote to save him. But hey, what can you do? Yeah, you play the game. All right. Let's see. What else? Big Brother hooked up more people in Bachelorette and Bachelor. I absolutely believe that. All right, Jeffrey, what am I supposed to be? Maybe Cliff can't tell us. What am I missing on these comments? And maybe I'll tell you if the question is, all right, is there only one key in the bag when people vote? No. You're talking about at the very end? No, I had a key. I had a bag that had two keys. One that said Holly, one that said, I don't remember if it said Mickey or it said Jackson on it. Can't remember now, but no, there were two keys. And they told us that make sure when you insert that key that you keep it covered up. We want it to be a surprise for everyone involved. So do everything you can not to let anyone see. We couldn't tell anyone else who we were going to vote for before the finale or at any other time. No, there were two keys in there, and you picked which one it wanted to be. Speaking of 7:57, we're going to go fast. But now when I was HOH and I had to vote, put two people on the block, and the two people I put on the block were Jack and Mickey, if y'all recall. It was so weird because the way it works, you go into the HOH room and there's a big briefcase in the HOH room. You open it up and it's everyone's keys in that briefcase, and they say, all right, pick the two that you want to put on the block and stick them in the little block, the HOH nomination block. But once you stick them in there, that's it. There's no going back. Once you make your decision, that's it. So I was like, okay, well, that's pretty cool. But it was stressful looking at this box, everyone's names listed on those keys, and knowing that I could pick any two of those keys and put them up for nomination. I spent a lot of time in there saying, do I really want to do it? Do I really want to go after two of the strongest, biggest players in this game? Have them both upset with me by doing it, but I had to take my shot. You never know if you'll get another one or not. So that was pretty cool. Would a younger single Cliff had considered a showmance? But before the wife, yeah, I guess so. I don't know. Yeah, sure, whatever. You play the game whatever way you can, and if it was in my single days, would I have considered it? Sure. Would I have treated it seriously and considered it true love and all that? Maybe, but I may have also just used it as a strategy. I don't. Who knows? Who knows back then? But sure, if I was single, I would consider whatever it got. Just get Sharon's permission to have a showmance. If it guarantees winning $500,000, Sharon probably would have given me permission. But would it be worth $500,000? Because I'd never hear the end of it. So yeah, no, I wouldn't do that. I told Julie when I went home, whether I win the money or not, my true prize is sitting at home already. So I know what's important in life. So I wouldn't do that regardless of what the prize was. Never in a million years. All right, let's see. What else? Well, we're getting near the end of it, guys. So let's go ahead and shut down. All right. Well, I never even done it. On this day in history, in 1912, just so y'all know, the first person jumped out of an airplane with a parachute. Well, they'd only had airplanes for less than 10 years before that, and you already have people jumping out of parachutes. It just kind of struck me as funny. pretty scary. You look at the airplanes people flew back then, and what they how dangerous those planes were, and then you picture someone jumping out of one with a homemade parachute. Seems kind of scary too, but so there you go. Your little bit of trivia for the day. First airplane jump was, what's that, 109 years ago. Now you got people jumping out with all kinds of parachutes and free falls and everything else. Incredible. But there you go. That day in history. All right, guys. I think at this point it's 8 o'clock, so we will probably shut it down. Let's see. What else do we have going on? Yeah, I guess that's about it. Any other questions I'll try to get to next week. JMR, I wonder if most of the jury is just 50-50 on Mickey or Holly at the finale. I don't know. I've never really asked anyone else if they already knew going in or when they decided or what they based their decision on. I just trust everyone to make the best decision that they can. So, all right, guys, I'm going to shut it down. We'll finish it off with SKD 143. Thank all of y'all for coming. I love my wife, love my kids, love the Big Brother and reality TV community. Y'all have a great one. Another episode of the challenge is on Wednesday, so we'll be talking about that. This is an action-packed. If you're watching the challenge, you know what I'm talking about. Action-packed drama one coming up on Wednesday, so I'll talk about that. Drop an episode later after that. But y'all have a great week. I will see y'all again next Monday. Cheers, my friends. Bye.